This is Byron Lazine and Nicole White, and you are tuned into episode 229 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Word is up.
You change that every time. Sometimes it's 228.
Oh, maybe.
This is 229.
Could be right.
Here we are. No, we're not having any of the shenanigans today.
No, none of our. We've got the bobblehead. This arm is still on.
It's a small miracle.
All right. Okay. So Melanie will be proud about that. Mm-hmm. All right. The heat is on, Nicole.
The heat is on.
The heat is on. Anybody know that DMX song in the comments? The heat is on. If you don't, just look up Heat DMX.
We
great
had
song.
to listen to it for the last 15 minutes while we were.
Inman article.
Yes.
8 mistakes agents make when competing. So there's still a lot of competing going on. When the competition heats up, it's easy to get caught in the frenzy and make costly mistakes. I've said a whole bunch of times, especially in those dual agency situations.
Dual agency, yeah.
You see agents really slip up, nervous, make mistakes.
Yep.
Here's how to stay on track and keep your reputation intact. So we've got a list of 8 things. We're going to go through it. Call racket or not on all 8.
5 minutes.
Not reading or paying attention to details in the MLS.
Huge.
When you go to a property, Nicole, as the representing the buyer, the agent representing the buyer or the investor, how important is it to read every little detail in that MLS so you don't look foolish at some point later on?
Extremely. I mean, it's not even about looking foolish. There's sometimes things that like, oh, the tub in the master doesn't work. That's being sold as is. And if you're not communicating that to the buyer and not including that then in the contract, when it comes time that they're now finding out that the tub doesn't work, but it was disclosed, it's now on you. Yeah.
There's still those agent notes. And I think mostly every single MLS that only agents see. Right. That's like the one little piece left that consumers don't see. At the very least, you need to know everything that is in there. And calling the agent, having a conversation is always a good idea.
Of course. But there is sometimes information in there like highest and best or due by. So you're not like, hey, are you doing a highest and best? It's like, did you read the remarks? Yeah.
I'm trying to get a hold of an agent right now.
You are? You're in it?
My dad is looking at this property in Milford.
Yeah.
And I'm texting with the agent. I'm like, hey, you know, he called you over the weekend. I just have like same question he had. Oh, I'm on a cruise in Alaska. It's like, all right, but should somebody be covering for you maybe? You know, this is why teams are dominating. All right.
Dominating.
Number 2, sloppy offers. Sloppy offers.
Well, I mean, is there examples?
When you're up against a mountain of offers and you are racing to get yours submitted, it can be easy to leave things blank.
Oh.
Not be clear on what you are requesting as part of an offer, or the offer simply leaves more questions.
I mean, that's wrong
in
any market.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Total racket.
I mean, this is one of the clear advantages to using an agent.
Right.
So that your offer articulates exactly what you, the buyer, the home shopper, the investor wants.
Right.
This is when you can win a deal.
Of course.
Especially if you're up against 10 offers. How you position yours, how you make yours a little more enticing or meet the terms of the seller is ultra important.
For sure, because it manages the expectations of the buyer, though, too. Yeah.
So huge racket if you're not taking the time to put together a great offer and articulate why this is going to meet the seller's wants.
Right.
Misleading and over-promising. There's nothing worse than a buyer agent trying to sell the listing agent on their offer by teeing up how easy the buyers will be to work with. I disagree with that a little bit.
You do?
Yeah, I think as the buyer agent, that's your duty and obligation to make sure that the listing agent knows, hey, we're in it. We're the players you want to play with. We're going to make this easy. Not only we're going to make it easy, what are the top 3 things that are important to the seller? Well, I'm going to meet those needs.
For sure.
I'm going to deliver on those.
But if you're unable to actually like control your buyers too, then you are overpromising.
What's the right thing for the seller?
Yes.
I'm on your team listing agent. What do you and the sellers want out of this deal?
Yeah.
I'm going to deliver that to you.
Yep.
And I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk to my buyers and I'm going to package our offer in a way that delivers on that promise.
I'm with you, but this is really kind of, I feel like talking more about personalities. Like, don't worry, my clients will be super easy. And that's not always
super
the
easy
case.
is giving us what we want, right? And
yeah.
You know, listen, inspections are coming back. Lisa Chinati, who's going to be on the pod this Friday, by the way. So if you're not subscribed to BAM by now, make sure you subscribe. #1 team MASH.
Not
She's
this
brilliant.
pod.
But the Byron Lazine pod on Friday, she'll be on.
You need to specify that. Yeah.
She just polled 14 agents who have been in the business on her team a year or less.
Okay.
And she said, how many people have had to negotiate after inspections? None of them. Because basically in this market, you're either giving up inspections,
right,
or there's no negotiation because there's 10, 15 other offers like what they're talking about here.
Oh my God.
And she's like, no, she's like, these are things that we're going to start to see
for
now.
Sure.
And training on that.
Oh boy, that's a
being
huge
ready for that.
That's
just like the offers, right?
Yeah.
Like how often with our new agent program
are way worse than negotiating an offer.
Are we going through every Monday? They go through offer training, forms training, making sure, hey, if you're in the business less than 24 months and maybe you've only done 30 deals, it's a good idea to still engage in some forms training, some blank template. Like know the contract. That's one of the values that you have. Know it inside and out.
Yeah.
Know everything that it says on there. Offers that won't stick. Speaking of attempting to renegotiate, another agent mistake is crafting offers the buyer had no intention of sticking to in the first place.
This is everywhere.
This as-is offer turns out to be a litany of repair requests.
And it's interesting because when you're saying that she pulled 14 people and they didn't negotiate afterwards, I mean, the amount of times that buyers have then come back and tried to negotiate.
As-is doesn't mean anything.
It means freaking diddly
when you're doing an
squat.
inspection. I know what I called you for now.
Oh, no, what is it?
Yeah, I called you on Saturday, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's when I went to see Top Gun.
And you weren't at the movies because it was in the middle of the afternoon. You were at the movies in the middle of the afternoon?
Yes, it was a shitty day. It was supposed to rain that day.
It was supposed to, it didn't. So
yeah.
I golfed in the morning.
Of course.
A little holiday weekend fun. I'm golfing, you're, I guess, movieing.
Top Gun.
So I pull into my community.
Yeah.
And that unit fell out of contract again.
Yeah, down the
So I go in.
You went like the open house? You went in it?
Yeah, it's the second time I've been to the open house.
Okay, and?
So I have an offer standing
on the house, on the condo.
And that's what because we'll flip it if we get the deal. So
who's the agent on that?
We'll flip it, or maybe we won't. But anyways,
why didn't you get the listing?
Well, I don't know. I'm not doing a good job farming my community.
Your community.
Maybe because I have a lot of HOA opinions, right? So we've talked about this in the past. An HOA can hurt you or help you.
Right.
I think it probably hurts me more than it helps me.
It's okay. There's not many units in there anyway. You'll survive.
So the offer I made was cash.
Yeah.
2-week close. Yeah. No inspections.
Right.
That's as is. That's solid. That's rock solid.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll talk about that.
You're not including inspections at all. I mean, these people are including them and they're like informational purposes only. That's bullshit.
Yeah. So and this is, it's up to us as agents to go back if we're on the list side of this kind of a deal. Mm-hmm. Like they're saying as is, but don't get excited about it because they're still doing this inspection.
Bullshit.
Yeah. They're still going to have opinions about the inspection. They may get emotional about that report.
Well, especially if they're paying $100,000 over list price, they then expect some things.
Yeah. So, hey, you want to do your inspection? Cool. Make your $50,000 deposit non-refundable.
Right.
Now we've got some skin in the game.
There we are.
Right?
Holy.
Discounting. This happens on both the buying and selling sides. Agents may haphazardly offer to reduce their commission in the heat of competition. By the way, on that offer, I said you guys can keep the
that makes sense because you're the buyer. Right. But the amount of offers I've received this season's where like I'm reducing part of me is actually like, sweet, so I'll keep the rest. Like, yeah, my client has already agreed to pay the 5 or 6%. Like you giving up the 0.5% on your side, I feel like just being like, you know what, I'll keep that 5.
But what do you usually do?
Well, those ones never win.
Yeah, they never win.
They never win.
All right. Failure to manage and communicate expectations.
I mean, this is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge.
So
huge.
All the different scenarios that can come
on
up
both
and just
sides,
and just being ultra clear.
You have to be.
That's why like we talk about the phone call, then following up and writing email and or text message. Email is a great way to document.
Always.
But I would definitely have that phone call so you know exactly. There's no misinterpretation of the text. Yeah. You follow up in text to reinforce. Mm-hmm. Glossing over details, right? Mm-hmm. Very important. Like, don't be that agent that's trying to get the deal done for the sake of getting the deal done. Mm-hmm. Be detail oriented. This is the time right now where the agent who knows all the ins and outs, who's crossed all their T's, who's dotted all their I's,
right,
is going to win.
For sure.
The agent that's deep into the details. Not verifying leading details. When
lending.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, lending details.
I mean,
when a hot property hits the market, and
is that even a? Is that
well,
a
that's
word?
why I was going to read it. I'm like, hold on, which one is this again?
Lending.
Okay, so not verifying the lending details. When a hot property hits the market and you are working with a buyer, or if your listing just went live, it's going to result in a crazy sense of urgency. The buyer can't get in the house fast enough, and as the listing agent, your phone blows up with all these calls, notifications. You can barely keep up. So
I mean, this is huge.
Making sure that you've got
one.
The right mortgage attached to the right buyer.
Right.
There's some new products coming out. I did a pod with Greg Schwartz, the CEO of Tomo. He's talking about there's going to be a lot more creative lending, non-QM as opposed to QM mortgage.
Yep.
They're doing some non-QM products. So just understanding all the products and is this product with this buyer, with the right bank? Yeah. Does everything matching up?
Did they provide you with the taxes that they still qualify for this loan? I mean, certain towns.
We're getting into some different times. We're going to talk about that here in topic number 2, what you can do to absolutely prepare for the worry that consumers have. 3 out of 4 consumers have this worry. But before that, let's jump into what's happening with Tomo.
Hello, Tomo.
Lock and Shop. I talked to Greg on the podcast.
And what did he say? Is it successful? Is he?
Oh, this is them reacting to the market and not basically doing what most banks are doing, which is just saying, hey, nope, it is what it is. You've got to have a contract before I can lock your rate.
Yep.
They're saying, okay, what can we do? What Tomo's doing great right now is they're investing into the consumer experience.
Of course.
So Tomo's, they're saying we're going to have the best tech.
Yep.
We're going to have the best experience, and we're going to invest and make sure that we give you the product you need. So Lock and Shop, the consumer does have some skin in the game, $750, but you can lock your rate into up to 120 days.
I love it.
You can go shopping, so you can have a stress-free experience. Tomo Lock and Shop, the link's below. Check that out. The form there, it'll say, are you an agent or are you the buyer? If you're the agent, bring this kind of benefit, if Tomo's in your market, to your buyer to obviously help them in their experience. Tomo Lock and Shop. Lock and shop it like it's hot.
Lock it up. Lock it like it's hot. Right? Isn't that what we were saying?
Yeah. Racket number 2.
We should come up with our own video.
Yeah.
That's the marketeer
of
the
week.
The
marketeer of the week is bonkers.
Lock it like it's hot. I think Tomo should do something.
Yeah, we should get Greg Schwartz to do that move that the guy in the Blink-182 parody did.
Right.
I don't think Greg's going to do that move.
No, he's not going to run around with the blur on his.
No. Hey guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on The Real Word YouTube.